With the brand new addition to Evo Skeleton Army and Evo Royal Ghost, I thought it would be a good idea to rank all 38 evolutions in Clash Royale from worst to best. Just to let y'all know, before we start, this is my opinion, so if you do get butthurt, that is your own fault, because it's an opinion-based video, bro. Don't, just calm down. But anyways, with that being said, let's get into the ranking. Number 38, Ice Spirit. Now, how evolutions work is kind of like if a card needs a bit of help during out in the battle, it gives it like a little boost to like change it up and like change up the style of the battle. With Ice Spirit, it's just it doesn't really work. With Evo Ice Spirit kind of just working as a mini freeze now, because after when it jumps onto an opponent, it becomes frozen and also has a little time spirit where it's just slower, kind of like how a snowball works, and then it freezes again, repeating the same process only 2 times. Now, it's just like a snowball and a freeze together, and it's just not worth it in my eyes just to waste an Evo slot on something that could just honestly just be better. Ice Spirit is normally just a cycle card anyways, which I think it should just stay as that. Number 37, Goblin Drill. This evolution used to be so good when it was released. Now it's just bad. After with his nerf, where after when he comes up after the first time, he doesn't do any more tower damage to the tower, is also one problem, because it was at least guaranteed damage you were going to get on this tower every single time he popped up. But now, since you're not getting that, you're not getting as much value as you would. And it's also super easily counterable with different counters, and it's just, I don't think you get much value off of it, and the ability that it does have is just not great, at least compared to what the other Evos and what they can do. You're really not going to get the value that you're wanting off of the Goblin Drill. Like, it doesn't survive a long time for it to like really get the value off of the 3 pop-ups, but so it's kind of just a bad Evo. Number 36, Inferno Dragon. This is kind of just like the last one. I don't think you will get much value. A lot of cards can reset his like ability where after when he's like fully charged, he keeps the same amount of strength. Like it's good, but are you realistically going to get great value off of that? I just don't think so. And just, like I said before, a lot of cards can just easily reset him, and I don't think he's just a good evolution overall. Number 35, Wizard. Now, even with one of the best entrances sounds, because you just get the Evo Wizard, it's pretty tough, but it's like the last 2. You're just not getting great value off of this little fire shield thing, but the knockback's really great. I do think it would be better than Inferno Dragon's just, last ability of the damage output. That's why I thought I put Evo Wizard before. But overall, the shield can just easily go away by a bunch of spells or just like, just easy counters for it. It's just like a normal wizard, but with a shield. It's kind of like a royal recruit in a way, but with splash damage. It's just, I just don't think it's as great as it could be. Number 34, Barbarians. The Barbarians is debatably one of the worst swarm cards in the game. I mean, like, if you're able to get it down and get decent value, it's good, but you can say that with every card. They're easily counterable, and it's just not great. Like, with your other swarm cards, like, there's just better options here. I don't really mind the ability, like, the little rage after when it gets a hit, it's rage boosted and it keeps going with it. Like, I think that's a good idea, a good ability, but, like I said before, if you're not getting real value off of it, then there's just no point of using it. Number 33, Zap. Now, with this evolution, I was caught off guard. I didn't think Zap would get an Evo, but I also don't think it's needed. Zap it just adds an extra stronger Zap, like right after, and just adds another stun ability, but overall, it's just useless as an Evo slot, in my opinion. I don't think this card really needed an Evo. It was kind of fine how it is, but, whatever helps the card, I guess. Number 32, Bats. I haven't seen anyone play Evo Bats in a while, and I think it's for one reason. It's easily counterable. I mean, now, Bats isn't a bad card, but it's just not as used as well as Minions now because of their buff. And with how just Evo Bats is, you can just easily counter still with a small spell, and also it's not as hard to like let it get to your tower unless it's like being supported by another troop in front. But like I said before, it's super counterable, and even with the ability, the regen ability, it's still not useful for it. Number 31, Skeletons. Now, don't get me wrong, I think Evo Skeletons is a really great evolution, especially with like the like revive factor of it all. It's very unique, and I like the concept. But like I said before, since with Skeletons just low HP, it's just super easily counterable. The only thing I do think about when I think about Evo Skellies, if he gets on your tower and you literally cannot like stop it because it just revived after like one dies, another one's immediately coming back, and he could easily 3-crown. That's why I think he's a bit better than some of the other ones that I've said before, but I don't think it's the best out of like, at least concept wise, or not concept wise, but ability wise, out of like the rest of them coming up. Number 30, Goblin Barrel. Now, the only reason why I think Goblin Barrel is so low on this list is because how predictable it is. Now, as soon as it's like played, you can easily tell which one sparkles and which one you can easily just counter with, and like the little dolls are just pretty easy to deal with. I do think it's the worst Evo win condition in the game, but not totally terrible. Speaking of win conditions, number 29, Wall Breakers. Now, the Wall Breakers are still, I think, a good win condition, especially with their Evo and how strong they generally are, but also they're just easily counterable if you just have a building in your deck. That's the only thing I kind of have. If you just have a building, you're fine. But if not, it's kind of a little hard to deal with. Number 28, Bomber. Now, don't get me wrong, Bomber's one of my favorite cards, but with his evolution, I still think it's pretty easy to counter. Like any small spell, majority small spells, but it's a good support. Even if you have it back with another Evo, I generally think it's still a decent Evo with the long range as well. But also, you have to think about, like, if he really can get that angle, kind of like a magic archer, if he really can get that angle and get that value, like, to get hit on his tower. That's the main reason why I think it's just not as great as some of these other Evos. Number 27, Archers. The Archers used to be so good, especially with how much damage they would use and actually output, but now since it's kind of been nerfed to the ground, it's just not usable anymore unless you have a good support in front of it, and with that, you could still easily counter it with arrows or something. Number 26, Executioner. Now, I don't even play Executioner, but with his Evo, the only thing I do see is just does knockback damage, and I just don't think that's very useful, especially with other cards that also can deal knockback damage, and I just don't think you should use 5 Elixir just for an air troop. That just won't do much, in my opinion. Number 25, Cannon. I don't think it's a bad Evo, especially with the radius. You at least guaranteed to hit a troop at most times, but like, I think Cannon's just not the best building in the game, especially HP wise, and I feel like there's just better options here. Number 24, Skeleton Barrel. I think the Skeleton Barrel has a great Evo. The only reason why I think it's this low is because, yes, it's still easily counterable, but also it's paired with so well with like a bunch of cards to where in sticky situations, it's actually pretty hard to deal with, but at the end, it's just by itself, I feel like it's not too hard to deal with. Number 23, Mortar. Now, this is another card that I just love to play. The Mortar, I think, is very well, especially with its evolution, to where if you have a great support that's already in front of helping out with the Goblin that's attached to the Mortar, and the Mortar just gets good damage overall. The only bad thing I think that makes it this low as well is because if you're not getting that support to go with it, and then I feel like it's just easily just dealt with, like you can just easily redirect it, because also the time and spent, like how long it takes to get every shot off. But I still think it's a great Evo and decently usable. It's just like without the support, it just makes it a bad Evo, like if it's just by itself. Number 22, Musketeer. I think the Musketeer is a great card, especially with the aerial troop, and I think she does great damage overall, but I just don't think you get enough value off of her Evo. The reason why she's kind of this high is because I feel like the best way to use it if you need to take down like a building or something, like if you're going against like an expo player or something like that, she's great for buildings and like just because you know you're going to get that great damage off the snipe shots. But if not, that's kind of it that I see, like only the great placements that you kind of need, and I feel like you just won't get that value off if you just try to make a user snipe shot instead of using a great placement. Number 21, Royal Recruits. Now, I know they may be hard to deal with because you're not normally used to having so much troops on a board like the Royal Recruits, but if you just have a tower and another troop, you can easily just counter this. I mean, if without even a tower, you can still pull cards to the middle by just using troops. A lot of long range troops would help out because since they're melee, the only thing you have to really worry about is their charge and try to deal with that. But overall, I don't think that they're a bad card to deal with. Number 20, Dark Goblin. This evolution used to be so great until it got nerfed to the ground. I still don't think it's a bad evolution, especially how fast attacking Dark Goblin genuinely is, and the poison damage that can just rack up over time and just hit multiple troops at once is very amazing. It's just, like I said before with a bunch of these, it's easily countered by any small spell or just anything if you don't have a big support to go with it. That's kind of all it needs, is just a big support. If not, then the card is just, it just won't do much, you know? Number 19, Knight. Hey, we made it halfway. Now, the Knight used to be such a good evolution. It felt like a literal tank. Just walking through the battlefield, Lily could not die. Now it's just been nerfed so much with a shield. It's not the same, obviously, but like, it's still not too terrible. It's just, you just don't get the same as the value it used to be and how it, was. But I don't think it's terrible. That's why I put it halfway. Still a decent Evo overall. Number 18, Tesla. I think the Tesla is one of the best buildings in the game. It's very viable and it's super usable, especially with the ability when it pops up. There's like a little stunning electric circle wire thing that can stun anyone and also can wipe out swarms that are coming towards it. It's very useful, but it's only useful if you can get it to happen multiple times. If you can't, you only does it like once, then that's it. That's all it uses, just a normal Tesla after that, which I just don't know how much times you can like genuinely just get it to pop up multiple times. Number 17, Goblin Giant. Now, the Goblin Giant would have been way higher, probably in the top 10, if it wasn't for October's balance changes. They nerfed this card so much to the ground. It's not good anymore. Like, it genuinely used to be a great evolution. Like, it was really hard to deal with about the spawn rate of each goblin that's coming out, the range of just the little spirit goblins just hitting. This was an absolute tank walking towards your tower, hard to defend. Now it's just nothing. It's really not that bad to deal with. Number 16, Skeleton Army. Hey, one of the first new evolutions. Anyways, Skeleton Army I think is a great evolution, especially how even if the skeletons do die, they are still technically alive under the Skeleton Guardian. Guardian? I think so. Anyways, the Skeleton Guardian is the main problem. Like, if you don't have the Guardian also being supported with like a huger tank like that's going with it, the Skarmy gets no value because it would be it's just like a normal guard, just without as much shield damage as a guard has. That's the only bad thing. I feel like you can easily take it out with any splash unit, any small spell. Like, I feel like it's easy to deal with if it doesn't have that support system to help him out. Number 15, Hunter. Hunter is so great. It's a very amazing air troop unit, especially when his first ever shot is it just traps them, and then he also continues just to shoot. I feel like Hunter is so great, especially when you get the right positions for a Hunter. He just melts away a lot of troops' HP just because of his high attacking, and I think it's such a great evolution to also being able to stop some like huge coming troops, kind of like a P.E.K.K.A. or like any like fast ones like a Hog Rider, to where it's easily dealt with, and it's just overall a great evolution. Number 14, Royal Ghost. I think the Royal Ghost has a genuinely good evo as well, also being able to secretly deal with a bunch of tanks, because after when it is active and it hits in a troop, it spawns 2 other little ghosts that can also do the same thing as a Royal Ghost, just has the HP of a skeleton, which isn't bad. I also think it would be still a really great mini tank overall, and I think it overall just like sums up well with other troops and how it's going to be effective this season. Number 13, P.E.K.K.A. Now, I do think P.E.K.K.A is a great troop overall, especially about her just hard hitting, and just overall, she's a great card. The thing about it is, I feel like it's also decently easily counterable, but she can be hard to deal with sometimes. But I do like her regen factor about after when she kills a troop, she gets their HP back, like a little butterfly. That's really cool. Overall, I do think P.E.K.K.A is a great evolution, but I do think she kind of isn't as great as the upcoming ones that we're about to mention. Number 12, Goblin Cage. The Goblin Cage is actually crazy if you think about it. When it gets into that close range for the Goblin Cage to pull in and just tank on their troops' HP is actually crazy. It's just so, it works so well, amazingly, just to deal with big troops and just easily just take them out. It's unbelievable. And you're also, after when the building is gone, you get a whole other mini troop that is going into do heavy damage to a tank or any other troop or a building. Like, it's overall an amazing evolution. But like I said before with P.E.K.K.A, I feel like there's just better ones that make it not able to reach the top 10. Number 11, Firecracker. Yes, just barely making it out of the top 10. Firecracker always, even though I despise this card, always seems to get good value. Her evo is just so great with a long range, and I mean, I know people say she's a camera woman, but dude, after, even with one shot, just the radius of like the sparkle, lash or backlash damage that are still on the battlefield is just insane. I think Firecracker has an amazing evolution, and it's just hard to deal with sometimes, like genuinely. I think Firecracker's evolution is so great, but it's just not as great as the top 10, and that's why it's the only reason why I think it's just not making the top 10 is because of how slow it can be. But that's literally it. If it was just a smidge quicker, it would easily replace one of, if not like the bottom view of the top 10. Number 10, Battle Ram. The Battle Ram, at first when I thought about it, I didn't think it was that great, especially when it came out. I thought it was going to be an evolution that sucked. Now looking at it, it is an amazing evolution. The Battle Ram, if you don't know, it's the same thing like as a normal Battle Ram, has its own charge, but it does not stop after one hit. If you cannot deal with that, it is absolute crazy demolishing your tower. The just constant damage it's just putting onto it, and also I know the barbs that are off of it is just not as great. That's why I don't think it gets higher than the 10th spot in the top 10. But it's just super hard to deal with sometimes, especially when that charge is coming. It also knocks back troops, or can delete and just demolish swarm cards that you thought it was going to just take away easily. It's actually crazy. Battle Ram is so underrated and so like underlooked. I think it is a great evolution, and people should consider it as a top 10 evolution without a doubt in my mind. Number 9, Furnace. Now, when the Furnace first ever came, or actually not came out, when it first got its rework, because it basically was a rework, there's no doubt in my mind without telling me that wasn't a rework, its evolution was crazy. Fire Spirit after Fire Spirit coming out almost after every attack that man dealt with. Evo Furnace was actually insane, and still kind of is now. Even though the Fire Spirit rate of it just coming out isn't as fast as it used to be, just demolishing almost everything that was in its path. It's still a great evolution about how the high damage dealing, the fire spirit, and the furnace is tacking on itself. If you don't even have a big spell to kind of take it out, or also to have a decent troop to easily deal with it, then this man would just be supported by a bigger troop, and it would have destroyed anything in its path. I think it's only number 9, though, because of the recent nerfs the furnace has received. It would have been at least top 5 to maybe even top 3 if it didn't have a balance change at all. Number 8, Snowball. Now, this was another evolution that really did surprise me. I never would have thought a spell out of all evolutions would make it to the top 10, especially when Evo Snowball came out. I thought Evo Snowball wasn't going to be that great when I heard it was coming out, and it caught me so off guard when I started using it. Evolution Snowball has the ability to push back troops and also give them that slow effect. Instead of like the knockback that the normal snowball does, it literally puts the troop in the snowball and pushes it back, like literally rolls it back. It is, you wouldn't think that would be super necessary or super good, but it is amazing when you're having so much troops trying to attack or push, and they're just instantly just pushed back out of their range, so they have to take it slower and enough time just to come back. Like, it is such a great evolution, and it's honestly super crazy to say that a spell is in the top 10, even though it's very deserved for Snowball. I think Evo Snowball is one of the greater evolutions out here, and it's well deserved for a top 10 spot. Number 7, Electro Dragon. This evolution used to be so broken. Back all the way in last year, October, when it came out, the evolution literally, after when it shot its like electricity thing, had an electric shot that went through each and every troop that was nearby it. And it kept going around and around with the same exact stun factor, which is crazy, and it's super broken. Now that they took the stun factor out, it's not as broken as, of course, it used to be, but it's super amazing to still have damage dealt over time with each and every strike that keeps going around. The only thing I don't think that it pushes it farther in the top 10, it's its HP. Its HP is kind of like just not as great as much other cards and how other cards are dealing with it. And also it could easily die to a bigger spell or just be easily taken out. And it's just, that's the only thing I don't like about it, but it's good. It's super good when it has a huge tank or a huge support system to go in front, and then it's just racking up amazing damage, eliminating pushes, eliminating anything that's trying to defend your push. It's just a great evolution overall. Number 6, Valkyrie. Evolution Valkyrie is so great. I use her almost constantly because she's such a great mini tank overall, just without her evolution. And especially having a great card and an amazing evolution to go with it, of course she's going to make the top 10. Evolution Valkyrie has a tornado effect. After when she makes a strike, she pulls in troops that are in the radius of her tornado, and it works perfectly because it also does like the smidge damages a tornado does, but if it's also closer, the more damage is dealt, and eventually her axe will hit. And she's just amazing and works well against a lot of wind conditions to pull them back and make sure they don't get on your tower, and also works well with any tanks or any just swarm cards to easily deal with. She's an amazing evolution overall. I don't understand if she's in your deck and you don't have her evolution, you need to get her evolution. She's amazing. I would glaze this card forever. I don't care what y'all say. It's a great card and a great evolution, but the reason why I don't think it makes top 5 is it can kind of be not easily dealt with, but once you know how to play against Evolution Valkyrie, you can at least like distract her or just take her out over time, and it's not
too hard, I guess, to say to deal with if you just know what you're doing, but you can also argue with that with every card in the game, so shut up. And this is why I think Evo Valkyrie is just an amazing card, just overall.
Number 5, Baby Dragon.
Oh my gosh, the Baby Dragon used to be so great. The Evolution Baby Dragon used to be a 1-card cycle to where you can almost have a speedy anything coming at your tower. What the Baby Evolution Dragon did was have a little storm, like a fast speedy storm for your troops that would boost 50% of their speed going just towards that way in the radius of the little fast part storm, and also reduce 30% speed for any opposing troops that were coming towards you. And it was it's honestly a great concept. At first, I didn't think it would be that great, and then with the 1-card cycle, it would have been top 3, or maybe even top 1, because of that 1-card evolution cycle. Now that it's got nerfed to 2, you're not getting that speedy anything as much anymore. You just don't get that effect with almost every game, and now that's why it kind of nerfs the Baby Dragon spot and puts it only in the top 5. But it's still a great evolution overall. I really do like it, and I think it deserves this top 5 spot.
Number 4, Mega Knight.
Now, I know people hate this card with a passion. Don't get me wrong. But Mega Knight generally just has a great evolution. There is no denying that. Mega Knight's evolution, when it hits a troop, it also sends them back. So with every single hit, your troop is always coming back to your side, and that makes sure that he can reuse his jump ability sometimes. So he's doing crazy damage to troops that are just, you're trying to defend with him. But the only reason why I do not think it makes top 3 is because how to deal with him if you just have multiple troops and that are just surrounding him. He can't really do much. It will be easily countered, and that's why I also feel like you could make the same argument like how I did with the Valkyrie, that, it's just, if after when you know how to deal with the card, it's just not as great as you think it would be. But after the value that you really just do see amazingly with the defensive card, no matter what, it's just great.
Number 3, Lumberjack. Now, here's another one people do not like. The Lumberjack is so fast and, fast damage dealing. It is insane. One of the greatest mini-tanks out there, especially after it dies. It has Rage to boost other cards to help it out. And with that Rage comes with the Lumberjack's Ghost. The Lumberjack's Ghost, will always stay alive in that radius of the Rage and does crazy damage just overall. It's annoying, honestly. It's just super hard to deal with when you have it coming at your tower, and then you're trying to place a bunch of troops, but after when your troops die, that Rage is still in range of your tower. That Ghost is going to your tower and just chipping away, and you literally cannot do anything about it because it's not unkillable. The only time it lasts is with that Rage, and you can boost other Rages to help it out as well. It is insanely broken, and I think it deserves this top 3 spot. The only reason why I don't think it's one of the top 2 is of the not as much value you would get with the other 2, and I think their abilities just with these other 2 cards are just greater than the Lumberjack. Number 2, Royal Giant.
The Royal Giant is an absolute
big boy.
tank.
The big cannon.
This man
Royal Giant's got a pretty big upgrade with his evolution. He does recoil damage now around
in its way.
And
this is absolute
so you can't really
a
damage
huge force
when he's shooting.
that is super hard to deal with.
It's pretty good. It's pretty cool.
Especially with RG decks, you have the Fisherman that's pulling your huge tanks away from the RG to where the RG is getting fat damage on your tower if it's in range, and the little ability after when it shoots, it knocks back any troop that's in its way, and if it's in that Rage, it's hard to deal with. It's literally unkillable because the Rage is so powerful, and it makes the radius that just bounces off every mini troop or any just troop in general that would just come off that can get affected by knockback is just, it's absolutely insane. They can't even get a hit off of the RG, which just farms your tower and eventually just kills it fully. Royal Giant certainly has a great evolution, but I don't think it's greater than number 1. Number 1, Witch. I do believe that the Witch is the best evolution in Clash Royale. The reason why I say this is her regeneration. If the Witch is being supported by a bigger tank or a bigger win condition that is just, it just kind of just sits behind and just farms the spawn rate of skeleton after skeleton after skeleton, and they die, oh my gosh, her HP just gets filled up crazy. She can't die to Fireball normally, it's like even with her normal card, so when the skeletons are up and you try to Fireball her, just boom, her health is just right back. It's just crazy. Like, how her regeneration, it just works, is just super. And it was nerfed. It used to be it was every skeleton that was being played, and that means she was basically unkillable back then. Almost every skeleton, literally, if you played a skeleton deck and she was on the board, and she would have max HP no matter what it was. Then it got nerfed to only her skeletons that she spawns, and it's still crazy because the skeletons are just easily being dealt with, and you think that'll been fine, but then she just keeps getting her health back over and over and over and over again and again. It's one of the most annoying evolutions, but it makes it so great, and that's why. Which, no doubt, in my mind, is the best evolution in Clash Royale, and I do not think that would change for a little while. If you made it this far into the video, thank you so much, because this took a little bit to make, but like I said before in my get to know me video, I just want to make good content for y'all. I like doing this. I just want to keep doing it, and I want to make sure it's something enjoyable that you guys watch. But since you didn't make it this far, I would appreciate if you did like or subscribe. You don't have to. I don't really. It just helps me out overall, but it would be nice. But thank you so much for watching, and I will see y'all in the next one.